Hey, church family, good to see you. This is our midweek bulletin. During this season of diaspora, you say, what is a diaspora? Well, in the New Testament, they have these passages. I think there's like 6 of them. It's called the church scattered. When the church is sent out, it's those passages where the Jews are sent to the Gentile regions. So this weekend was our first weekend where we were scattered all over the place. And these are the weeks where we're going to be doing a midweek bulletin. I'll be doing this on Wednesday, and we have our team doing all kinds of other things. You're going to get some fun things, informational stuff. So we'll be sending those out each week. And we'll look forward to saying hi to you. You're probably wondering, what's my cup doing here? Well, actually, things are a little stressful, and sometimes I drink a little bit more coffee when things are stressful. So I kind of up my game. This is my cup. I try to stay to 1 a day, but sometimes it's my morning cup, my afternoon cup. So this is my morning cup today, and I'm getting ready to finish it up. So I heard that we had like over 1,000 views this weekend. That's incredible. A friend of mine who kind of does this more professionally, he was saying that their church that they average somewhere like 2 to 3 individuals per view. That means we were somewhere around 2 to 3,000. I was kind of like, really? That's amazing. 2 to 3,000 people viewed us. So that was kind of celebrating. But then I realized a couple of things that kind of maybe brought that number down. It's true, we had over 1,000 views, but you know what I did on Sunday morning? I got up, I did a few chores, read my Bible, had my first cup of coffee, went big, and then I started channel surfing other churches. And so I went to 6 different churches. So the fact is that probably people went to our church and they checked in, and so maybe that, 3,000 people is not quite so exciting. But here's another reality. I had one of our, I'm going to leave him unnamed. He said, Pastor, I really loved the streaming because when I fell asleep on your sermon, I didn't interrupt anybody and my snoring didn't wake anybody up. So the fact is, we may have had 3,000 people, half of which snored. But the fact is, it was great. We had a fun first weekend, and we got a great weekend planned for you this coming weekend. So, in fact, we're going to go to detour number 2. And last week, the word was kind of fragile. This week, the word is relax. Why relax? Well, you probably heard the news. This week is kind of more hard news. Kids are going to be out till April 28th, and they're singing the song, school's out forever, and parents are singing the song, I'm going crazy. And so they're out for a while, and you can imagine the rippling effect of when do we get to be back together as a church. It's certainly not Easter, and that's hard news. I think it hit a lot of us hard this week. Restaurants kind of got closed down. And I've actually been spending a lot of time with business owners, and it's a hard season. And so the question I want to wrestle with, how do you relax in an atmosphere of complete chaos and craziness on this detour? So we're going to be looking at a psalm. It's a pretty familiar psalm. It's one of Martin Luther's favorites, Psalm 46. And so you can read ahead, and that's where we're going to be at, looking at the question, how do we relax in the midst of chaos? So look ahead at that. It's going to be a fun time. Let me give you a few updates that we're kind of looking forward to. Number 1, our office is still open. So yeah, you can come in and see pastors. Social distancing, if you want to practice that, we try not to shake hands, but once in a while we forget. I think we've even hugged people. Probably not supposed to do that, but we forget. Our daycare is open. School is closed. The daycare is open. They're doing a great job, and we're trying to service some organizations that needs our help, and we've been able to do that, and it's really pretty exciting. Business First Lube, they're still seeing cars, and it's really great. In the coffee shop, North Block, they're doing really well. Midweek, large groups, they're all closed. But our student ministries pastors, they're doing a great job. They're doing some social media work. They're doing connection through a lot of means, and so it's exciting to see them doing some great work. I think There's also some Bible studies that are still meeting. You'll just have to check in on those. And as always, watch the news, and we'll do our best to post when things get shut down. Some people may have seen something that came out of City Council from Salem that, no more than 2 people. Make sure you read that. That's actually no more than 2 people on the sidewalk. That was kind of addressing the homeless situation. So what has happened is now the camping is probably going to be moved over to Wallace Marine Park and also out south. So I was down this morning. Probably some movement is happening there in case you're not getting out. But we'll see what happens in the future. One of the questions that can happen is what do I do during this time? Some of you have decided to stay home, a smart move. Others of you go to work, but all of us wrestle with, what do I do? You can be consumed with a lot of anxiety. I'm probably watching too much news, at least that's what my wife says. And because I have a morning and afternoon cup of coffee, sometimes you kind of get high strung. A friend of mine gave me a word, and it's a good word. It really comes out of the scriptures. Remember when God told Abraham, I want you to be a blessing? And remember, our mission as a church is to be a blessing, to be a church for the city. And as I began to look at that word and just interacting with a friend, I want to give you a couple of thoughts about that word. It's just kind of a focal point. During this time when it is chaotic, and every day seems like, right now, some more bad news, a couple of things that you can do that are good things. You can bless people. One, you can pray for people's physical health. That's the B, their body. There's a lot of people, certainly down in Lebanon, in that hospital, Veterans Hospital. But it's not just down there. There's a lot of folks. We had one of our brothers last night have a heart attack. He's in the hospital. We have somebody that just went on hospice in our church, Betty, and we have people that we can be praying for. Pray for our city. Pray for people who are ailing, who their body is giving way, and pray for people and their health and the protection of their bodies. Pray for those who are first responders, that God would protect their body. They put themselves in harm's way every day. I think of the nurses and the doctors every day who walk into situations. And this virus, some new things came out today. I'll let the medical personnel explain all of that in terms of the testing, how it doesn't show up always in the testing. You can look at all the reports on that. Pray for those. Pray for their protection, pray for their families, but pray for their bodies. The L is that area of economy and labor. It is hitting hard. It is hitting emotionally for our restaurants and for our owners. And pray for people who, as one man described to me this week, I may have to cut off the arms to protect the body of the business that he owns. And I've just committed that when I meet with a business owner, when I meet with a manager, when I meet with a person who has to let people go, I never just listen. I pray with them. I let them know that I'm going to continue to pray for them. And I've often followed up with a text. They carry a heavy weight. Our governor carries a heavy weight. Our president carries a heavy weight. Pray for those folks that deal with the issue of economy and labor, and lift them up before the Lord. Emotional well-being. There's a lot of folks that are scared, absolutely scared. And it's easy to just go quickly to, just trust God. Well, don't be so quick to say that. And it's not that we don't trust God, but when you had to lay off 75 people, sometimes that trust God can seem kind of trite and dismissive. And sometimes you have to let them trust God with you, but let them grieve also. To bless them is to not let them cover over their grief. Sometimes that grief is real. And there's a lot of people today that are grieving, and they're sad, and they're scared, and they feel like they're letting people down that have trusted them for years, that worked for them. So when you take care and you listen to their emotional well-being, realize there's a lot of owners that for years provided jobs, for years had answers, for years they were counselors, and now they don't have answers. Pray for their well-being. Pray for their spiritual well-being. That's the S of the blessing. Pray that they would learn how to trust Christ. I was talking to a person who has a son who's living with somebody who's infected. He's living with somebody who's infected. And I was reading about that. What do you do when you're living with somebody who's infected? And this person told me they listened to our messages last week. And I asked why. And she said, I am scared. Scared for my son, scared for myself. And in that moment, we all get the opportunity to orient them towards Christ. Pray for their spiritual well-being. Orient them all towards Christ. Lastly, you can pray for their social well-being. One of the things we've done here at the church, and I want you to know that you can participate in this. We've made the commitment to call every day all of our seniors that are kind of sequestered. Maybe they're in nursing homes and they are on lockdown. All of them are. You say every day? Yes. Many of them are in their own room. They cannot go out for meals. They get delivered meals. They're cold meals, a lot of them. And they are in isolation, depressed, discouraged, scared, watching way too much news. So we've made a commitment to call them every day. If you want to join that team, call the office. It is a delightful team. And so what we're asking you to do is to bless them, their social well-being. We're creating teams of people to write cards. If we're a church for the city, we can bless people. And we want to encourage you to do that. That's just a tangible way that we can move into the city and love them during this time. It's a rough time. We're going to get through it. We are a church sent to the city. Today, we are the diaspora, the sent ones, scattered ones. We're all over the place. We'll get back together soon. I don't know when. Everyone asking, when do we get back together? It's not Easter. It's going to be after. I cannot wait till we get together again. We'll see you again this weekend. It's going to be relaxed. God's got this. I'll see you then. Your pastors love you. God bless you.